Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us for our quarterly Maximize Your Membership membership orientation event. To introduce myself, I am Kelly True, and I'm on the membership team here at the Greater Boston Chamber of Commerce. And so part of my role here at the Chamber is working with our members to making sure that they kind of fully leverage their memberships, are aware of their benefits and all the various opportunities that are available to them with their Chamber membership. And so whether you've been a longtime member and have been members for quite a few years, or if you've just joined, or if you are considering joining the Chamber, we hope that today's presentation is helpful for you in understanding kind of us, our mission, and the various ways that you and your business can get involved in. And so just before we get started, just a few housekeeping notes that today's session is being recorded and will be available after today for future reference. For all of our participants signing on right now, but everyone is muted, so you don't have to worry about any of the noises that are going on around you. And then at the end of today's presentation, I'm hoping that the presentation section will bring us to 12:45, and at the end, you'll have the opportunity to come off, unmute yourself, and kind of interact with our team in some themed breakout rooms. A little bit more information on that at the end of the presentation, but we're really excited to dive in. And so before we get started, up on the screen is just a little agenda overview of the various topics that we'll be going over today in our presentation. And so how today's session will work is that I'll invite a colleague of mine from our various departments to come on the screen and join me to share a little bit more about their work here at the Chamber and to kind of familiarize you guys with our team here at the Chamber. But we're really excited to get started and to help you guys get plugged in. So before we go into kind of the various offerings, just a little background information about the Chamber and who we are. But we are a membership organization that consists of over 1,300 active members in and around Boston, across all sizes from small to large and across all different industries. And so when you're thinking of the Boston business community, you're thinking of higher education, you're thinking of real estate, financial services, hospitality and tourism, all these different industries that make up our business community. We kind of like to say that if you're doing business in Boston, it's great to engage with the Greater Boston Chamber of Commerce. And so our mission here at the Chamber is to make Greater Boston the best place for all businesses and all people to thrive. And how we do that is through kind of these various umbrellas that make up the Chamber that we'll be walking through today. So our programming, our policy and advocacy work, our leadership initiatives, and our economic opportunity arm. And so something to know about kind of all the different offerings that we have at the Chamber, but membership is corporate. And so membership extends to all employees under your business. So they're able to come out to our events and to take advantage of the benefits. And then finally, I do have a colleague from our marketing team to share a little bit more about the kind of virtual side of our Chamber community and the ways that you can leverage the Chamber to kind of amplify your news within our community. And so next slide up here is, so typically we really like to host this event in person at the Chamber's member space on 265 Franklin Street. And so for safety reasons, of course, we can't do that. But I really liked this slide as it pulls together kind of some of the various logos of members within our membership. And I do want to note that this is just a very small snapshot of it. I had reviewed today's attendee list and kind of pulled some of the companies of people that are on today's call today, so you can kind of get a sense of who's participating today. But again, this is a very small piece of the pie, and you can view our active membership of 1,300 members online on the Chamber's website. With that, I'm going to introduce Lorraine Watts. Lorraine, I'm going to invite you to unmute yourself, but Lorraine here is a program manager on the Chamber's programming team, and so this is definitely kind of one of the most robust arm of the Chambers and the #1 ways that members get engaged with us. And so I'm going to invite Lorraine to come talk a little bit more about our programming.
Excellent. Good afternoon, everyone. I want to give you guys just a snapshot of a little bit of everything that we do. And then, of course, if you have further questions, feel free to come chat with me in a breakout room at the end. So I'm going to start off with our annual events. Our annual meeting is our largest event of the year, and it's a night for us to honor Boston's very big and growing business community. This event draws about 2,000 attendees each year from across about 300 different organizations. This year we actually did our first annual meeting fully virtual, which was a really cool experience for us and definitely a successful event. Our Pinnacle Awards is our second largest event of the year, and it's directly related to our women's network. For us, Pinnacle highlights 8 women across several different industries. Usually 7 of them are accomplished women in business or the arts, entrepreneurship, and then one of our awardees is an emerging executive. For small business, we have our Small Business of the Year Awards, which gives us the opportunity to highlight some of Boston's small businesses who are doing really well in their fields, who are growing, who honor diversity and really helping to grow Boston's business community. Also related to our small business sector, we have our Chamber Networking Group, which meets quarterly each year, and it's essentially speed networking. This particular program was built for small to medium-sized businesses, and it's a really great opportunity for our members to establish new professional contacts, as well as to practice networking and practice making your business pitch.
And so just to know, our Pinnacle Awards and our Small Business Awards, and as well as our Young Professional Awards, as part of Chamber membership, you're able to like nominate yourself or maybe some of the clients that you work with for these awards.
Next up for us is our monthly forums, which have the highest frequency of all of our programs. A really great tip for membership. When you're planning to attend any of these events, we do have attendee lists that are available for you, just to give you an idea of what companies and what people are going to be in the room, so that if there's ever anyone that you would like to be able to connect with or to network with, our membership team is really wonderful at either trying to seat you at the same table as somebody that you might want to interact with, or to make an introduction for you so that you are able to connect with that person at the event. Our monthly forums usually occur between 6 to 9 times a year, and they fall under 3 different categories. So government affairs, women's network, and City Awake. Government affairs and women's network typically draws somewhere between 200 and 350 plus attendees for each program. And our City Awake network, which is focused on young professionals, is usually a smaller, a tighter knit group, and it attracts usually 25 to 75 young professionals per program. So for government affairs, it's an opportunity for us to really shine a light and focus on our local and state officials. And it's an opportunity for them to give an address to Boston's business community. And for these programs, they usually draw an audience of between 200 to 600 or 700 attendees. 2 of our most popular are usually when we feature the governor, which is at the beginning of the year in February, and the mayor, which is usually the start of the fall in September. For our Women's Network Forum, which is our largest network in the region, it convenes women professionals from across all sectors, and it ensures that Boston is a place for professional women to thrive. The form of each of these programs typically varies between a keynote, a fireside chat, or a panel. And we love to highlight very diverse speakers as well as diverse topics. Speakers we've had in the past are Sheila Lirio Marcello, who was the president and CEO of Care.com. We've also featured Betty Liu of the New York Stock Exchange, and Deborah Jackson, who's the head of Cambridge College. For our City Awake series, it's an opportunity for us to highlight emerging and established Boston leaders for our Young Professionals Network. So we tend to keep this particular series on the smaller side just to make it a little bit more personal for our young professionals, but it's an opportunity for them to really pick the brains of incredible leaders in Boston, to be able to sit down with them and ask them questions about their leadership journey. And in the past, we've featured the head of the Bar Foundation, Jim Canales, the founders of Night Shift Brewery, as well as the head of Flower Bakery, Joanna Chang.
And so kind of since March, the Chamber has pivoted into a virtual format. And so we've been hosting all of these events to still kind of provide content to our member of what's going on in the business community in a kind of Zoom webinar setting. And so that is something that we're going to continue with through the rest of the year.
Yes. Excellent. And last but not least, our Women's Network, which has been around for about 26 years. And it provides a really great space for women professionals across the industry to engage with one another. We also love the opportunity to mix our Women's Network with our Women's Leadership Program, which is usually younger, sort of a mix of young professionals and middle management. So to be able to give them the opportunity to mix and blend with our Women's Network is always wonderful for us. Men can and are encouraged to attend, so it's open for everybody, but the particular series does target really incredible women.
And we just really like to highlight our Women's Network because I'd say it was probably one of our more popular series, and typically, especially for new members that join, this is a really good first event to attend. Next up that we kind of like to, it has its own kind of separate branding and for us to highlight is our City Awake programming, which is for our young professionals, but especially when you're thinking about the business community and how our workforce is now largely millennials, and now with the integration of Gen Z into our business community, it was really important for us at the Chamber to be able to provide a space for next generation leaders so that young professionals are able to engage with each other, start building their network, but then to also kind of encourage that participation kind of at large in our business community, since they will be the future generation of our leaders. And so some notable events that are included under City Wake is our Fierce Urgency of Now Festival, the speaker series that Lorraine mentioned, as well as our yearly award called Toil, 10 Outstanding Young Leaders, where we recognize just some awesome leaders within the kind of nonprofit, private, and public sector of our business community. The newest program for the Chamber, which we're really excited to integrate into our arm, I think we do have a few MyTex folks that are signed up for today's event. But MyTex, for those of you that don't know what it stands for, is it's the Massachusetts Innovation and Technology Exchange. And so really their mission is really tapping into how technology and innovation tap into kind of the future of customer experiences. And so when you're thinking of the community that engages in MyTex, it's those that work in tech, in digital, e-commerce, design. That is really the type of niche community that MyTex brings and will now be combining with the Chamber. And so just look out for it. It's a new kind of brand that we're really excited to welcome to the Chamber. And some of the notable events that fall under MyTex's are Influence Her series, the Future X Summit, as well as their e-commerce and design events. And so just a new programming series that we're really excited to welcome under the Chamber.
Excellent. A couple of other program and event opportunities that we have here at the Chamber are special events, which is an opportunity for us to capture anything that doesn't necessarily fit into one of our other categories of programs. And it's usually for us a topic that is very timely or very current. So last year we did a couple of sessions on paid family medical leave, which were well attended, as well as an event that focused on the opioids pandemic. Also, as Kelly had mentioned earlier, in this very virtual world, we've pivoted all of our programs at the moment to fully virtual, and they will be virtual through the end of this year. And converting everything to a webinar format has allowed us to also create some very new and current content and programming. We started a Future of Boston series that was pretty much built out of the pandemic and focuses on Boston now and the Boston of the future. We've highlighted the hospitality industry, transportation, and how those areas have been affected by the coronavirus. And then moving into 2021, it's a series that will continue to grow and focus on as we think about what our new normal will be and what the future of our city will look like.
Great. And so kind of at a high level, the graphic up on the screen shares the really various series of events that you'll get when you attend Chamber events. Again, it's all virtual and available for all members to be able to engage on, and kind of how the Chamber really likes to fit in is being able to provide content across since our membership is so diverse across all different topics. And so you'll see us kind of playing all around, highlighting different leaders and providing content that our members want to hear about. And so next up, just something to note about all our events is that we do have advisory boards, which are committees of chamber members that kind of help drive all the programming that we just discussed. And so up on the screen is the chair of the Women's Network Advisory Board, but it's just a group of recognized members within our members that help drive our programming.
Excellent. And a couple of upcoming events for you guys. You'll see those on the screen. We have our City Awake, Fierce Urgency of Now Millennials of Color Festival, which will be from September 16th to September 20th. And it's essentially a week-long festival of events, some hosted by the Chamber and some hosted by our amazing partners. And it focuses on the experiences of millennials of color in the city. So there's an agenda of incredible events that's going to be on our website, so definitely check that out. On September 24th, our Women's Network will be hosting a panel event that'll focus on ESG investing. So if you're interested in that particular area, definitely come chat with me at the end of this. Our economic opportunity, that sector of our program's world has just started a Doing Business With series. And we just actually yesterday had an incredible event that was Doing Business with Gilbane. And on September 22nd, we will be featuring the Boston Red Sox. So if you're interested in figuring out ways to work with the Boston Red Sox and to explore more about procurement, definitely join us for that on the 22nd. And then last but not least, our very popular Diversity and Inclusion Certificate Program will be starting on October 20th. And this is a really great opportunity for us to help our membership become more fluent and more aware of all of the different aspects and topics that fall under diversity and inclusion. It's a really hot topic right now, and our last round of this event was completely sold out. So if you're interested, definitely let us know. We have a series that's coming up this October, and we'll also be continuing 3 installments of this particular series in the new year.
So this is just a quick snapshot of our calendar. Our programs team is busy with planning for our fall, so expect more events to be announced. But the best place to look at this is on the Chamber's website. As follow-up, I'll share a link to that. And then you'll also hear about them through our newsletter. So if you're not already hearing from us, definitely get signed up. So thanks, Lorraine.
Absolutely, thank you.
Next up, I'm going to invite James Sutherland from our public policy team to share a little bit more about the Chamber's public policy priorities and ways that members can get engaged in kind of the policy arm of the Chamber. But we are an advocacy organization, and we do have kind of like a full policy team here. And as kind of a Chamber membership benefit is that you have access to our policy contact. So if we can ever be a resource, think of the Chamber as that.
Thanks. My name is James Sutherland. I'm the Director of Policy and Research here at the Chamber. The Chamber participates in research and advocacy at all levels of government, so city, state, and federal, and really try to push policies that are of widespread benefit to the business community. And we try to follow our 3 strategic priority areas, so talent and workforce, competitiveness, and economic opportunity. So you'll see the 6 policy priorities all fall into those categories, and I'll walk through them real quick. First up is transportation. Starting 2020, this is our #1 priority for the year. Obviously, that's changed with no one commuting via roads or the T as much anymore. But our focus in that bucket was really on improving our transportation system and infrastructure statewide, and reducing congestion and increasing public transit ridership. There's a lot to be done in this space, coronavirus or not. So it'll continue to be a big priority for us. Housing, particularly focused on workforce housing, is sort of an avenue towards upping our competitiveness for the region with housing prices so high. And it's so difficult to build workforce housing right now. We've been examining zoning and land use policies and supporting the governor's housing production bill. which will make it easier for cities and towns across the state to develop workforce housing. Taxes and good government is kind of a broad bucket that really strives to get at the overall sort of business environment and quality of business in the region. And we try to keep Massachusetts competitive where we might be an outlier. So this involves a variety of different areas, everything from independent contractors and worker classification to paid family medical leave, tax credits for cybersecurity investments, conformity to federal tax, unemployment insurance, you name it, it's in this bucket. And this is going to be a huge focus for us moving forward as we go through the economic recovery. One of the things that we've been pushing for at the state level is to conform to the federal tax code for PPP loans. So right now, any business that receives a refundable PPP loan and is structured as a corporation, that's not counted as income for them, but a lot of small businesses structured as pass-throughs or partnerships, they will get a tax hit for that. So we're trying to change the tax code for that. Just to give you kind of an idea of what we're working with in that bucket. Another big priority area for us is talent and workforce. The Chamber believes that investing and fostering the talent of our region is key to keeping Greater Boston a competitor, and it creates new opportunities for residents and businesses alike. So in this space, we're focused on really cultivating our workforce pipeline, but also our reskilling and upskilling our current workforce. So some of the recent stuff we've done in this is assisting Madison Park Technical Vocational High School in Roxbury with some of their programmatic design, supporting the state's Student Opportunity Act, which provided greater spending for public schools across the state. And we're recently launched a statewide skills coalition to develop policy proposals for the next legislative session, particularly in the talent and workforce space. We believe that equitable recovery necessitates sort of a widespread access to economic empowerment through skills development, be it reskilling or upskilling, or the pipeline. Healthcare has been a sort of a different issue this year for us given the pandemic. But historically, we've really tried to strike a balance between supporting this industry, since it's such a cornerstone to our economy, with world-class care that's accessible, affordable, and looking into mass health, transparency, costs, all sorts of things here. And we're really starting to dive a little bit into healthcare disparities as well, which has been an issue that really came to light post-COVID. And then the final space, and this is our sort of newest policy priority, is climate readiness. The Chamber sees climate change as a business issue. It's a huge and growing issue for the business community, especially in Boston. And we put out our climate readiness agenda earlier this year that really incentivizes businesses to act, and looking for things like tax credits for mitigation and adaptation efforts, aligning state, federal, local climate goals to make it easier for businesses to tackle climate change, and really promoting some of the innovation opportunities that climate change represents, be it offshore wind, finance and investment in climate-ready infrastructure, career vocational technical education curriculum, all over the place. Next slide. And in order to help inform our policy positions, our priorities, and sort of what we tackle within each of those buckets, we have 8 different leadership councils that draw together sort of a select group of leaders within our membership that have a specific interest in a given policy area. And we really use these not only as an education tool for our members to get up to date on what's happening maybe at City Hall or the State House amongst sort of their colleagues in the same industry, but we also use it to inform and develop our policy positions. So we have 8 different ones. Our Public Policy and Government Relations Leadership Council really focuses on some of the nitty-gritty technical aspects of legislation and our general competitiveness. We have healthcare, which is self-explanatory. Regional real estate development looks at a lot of the city regulatory stuff going on. Transportation helped inform our big transportation policy agenda that we put forward at end of last year. Financial services tackles a lot of the sort of issues in that bucket. Talent development and retention is typically for sort of higher ed and HR type folks looking to better connect our talent pipelines, but also promote policies that help retain our talented workforce. Climate and energy is brand new, sort of rebranded for us as well, looking to tackle issues of climate and really drove some of our climate readiness policy agenda. And then hospitality and tourism, looking at this industry, and I know that they're going to be pretty active in the months, if not years to come, just as we continue with the recovery. Happy to answer any questions in the breakout rooms, but I'll turn it back to you, Kelly.
Thanks, James. And just kind of speaking on the membership side, but the policy area within the chamber for our members, I think has been a very growing area of interest for our members to engage in. And so like I mentioned earlier, that the policy team is an accessible benefit to you through your chamber membership. So just keeping the chamber in mind as a resource. And so I'm going to invite back Laureen to talk about the leadership initiatives that we have here at the Chamber. As James had talked about, talent is one of our public policy priorities. And then when you kind of combine that with the higher ed institutions around in our city, the Chamber partners with some of these institutions on professional development opportunities that our members are able to participate in and send their employees through. And so Laureen, if you want to come back on to talk about the leadership stuff.
Excellent, thanks, Kelly. So for leadership, our mission for our portfolio of leadership development programs is to make Greater Boston the most inclusive and welcoming place for everyone to work. So collectively, they give our participants the skills and the cross-sector network that they need for their careers. The programs fall under 3 key categories. So we have our cohort-based programs, our culture change program, and the future of talent portfolio. There are 2 cohort-based programs. We have our Women's Leadership Program and our Boston Future Leaders, and they're both sponsored by Blue Cross Blue Shield. Our Women's Network Leadership Program is accepting nominations now if anyone on this call is interested. And its mission is to empower women at any stage of their career with the skills and the network that they need to advance in their careers and to create the conditions for other women and women themselves to thrive. And we partner with Simmons University for this particular program, and the content focuses on finding your leadership style, building a strategic network, team management, negotiations, and public speaking. For our Boston Future Leaders program, this one helps emerging leaders, so leaders under the age of 40, to build socially conscious, civically engaged leadership toolkit. We partner with Harvard Business School on this particular curriculum, and there's an experiential piece where our participants actually get the opportunity to work on a project with one of our civic partners. So our partners each year vary, but this year they're going to be working with Massport. And nominations for BFL will open in October. For both of these programs, our participants are also paired into smaller groups, which allows them to make stronger connections across sectors, industries, and roles. And we find that it's also really helpful when our participants are going through these programs to not only network with the larger group that's also taking the program, but to go through each of these series with a smaller group of people that they can connect with and talk to about their experiences as they're going through the program. Next up for us is our Culture Change program. And the mission of this program, which we call All In for Advancement, which is also sponsored by Comcast and WorkHuman, is to make Greater Boston the most inclusive place to work. So we accept about 10 participating organizations, and those organizations select up to 4 individuals to participate on their behalf. And in partnership with Babson College, we teach skills such as entrepreneurial thought, action, design thinking, and culture change to help these participants design and implement their own culture change pilot program for their organizations. And there's about a week left to join for our fall relaunch of this program. If you're interested, definitely let us know. And lastly is our Future of Talent portfolio, which touches a lot on on James' comments about our, our leadership programs and our policy focus on talent. So the purpose of our future talent portfolio is to teach really cutting edge skills in like snack size content. So if you're interested in Women's Leadership Program or Boston Future Leaders, but can't necessarily commit to a full year-long curriculum, this is a really nice offering for you. So our Transformational DEI certificate helps our participants to increase their fluency in diversity and equity and inclusion concepts. And it's offered in 6 two-hour sessions over the course of 3 weeks. We're offering it once more this year. So October 20th is going to be the start of our fall program. And then we're going to offer the same series 3 times in 2021. And it's open to all career levels, and it's limited to 3 participants per company. This particular program has been very, very popular so far. So definitely let us know if you're interested as we are continuing to build more installments of this program.
And so just to note, like all of our other programming, our leadership suite has pivoted into virtual. And so it's still providing that kind of interactive networking opportunity in kind of a professional development center type of program. And so if this is an area of opportunity, you can hop into the program's breakout room at the end with Maureen to ask more questions about the leadership programs. Next up, I'm going to invite Bea to share a little bit more about the economic opportunity work here at the Chamber. Like I mentioned earlier at the presentation, the mission at the Greater Boston Chamber of Commerce is making sure that Boston is the best place for all businesses and all people to thrive. And really this arm of the Chamber captures that all people and making sure that the business community is socially and racially inclusive for all. So Bea, if you want to come up.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. And thank you, Kelly and Laureen and all of my colleagues for this great presentation. I'm actually learning a lot too, since I'm new to the Chamber. So as Kelly mentioned, our Economic Opportunity Department is really trying to make the business case for inclusion. And if you've noticed throughout the presentation, DEI is really embedded in all of our programs. We've made it an issue that we ensure is part of our policy, part of our programs, but I think economic opportunity helps further some of that work. So on the screen, you will see some of our programming, pace setters, which I can go in a little bit further. Small Business Strong is really an initiative that came because of COVID-19 as a response to the business community. As all of you know, in the beginning, we were seeing devastating numbers, specifically affecting businesses of color throughout the state. So the Chamber team has offered their time and expertise to help this pilot program with other partners, such as State Street Corporation, Eastern Bank, PwC. And it's really been an effort to provide a lifeline of support through business expertise that includes legal, operations, finances. So if you're a small business in Massachusetts, you're able to get business advice for free with no strings attached through Small Business Strong. So I'll make sure to put the website right in our chat. So far, we've served over 220 businesses throughout the state, with 60% of them being businesses of color. So I think we can go to the next slide.
This one slide.
If not, I can just share a little bit more deeper about the Pace Setters program. This one is really our signature program because it has really the core of some of the work that we're trying to do with extending business opportunities throughout the Chamber. So one of the ways that the Pace Setter programs does this is through a partnership of large and mid-sized companies and anchor institutions here in Boston. So many of our pace setters are large institutions. Some of them have their own supplier diversity division, but through the collective of the Pace Setters initiative, they're able to bring forward more emphasis to procurement and to the process. So the Pace Setters program launched in 2018, and it's really meant to be a response to racial economic opportunity and finding ways to create systemic opportunity for businesses of color and find a formula that really connects the buy side to the supply side and helping facilitate business relationships all around. The pace setters are also companies that commit to having their data viewed year by year so that we can understand the challenges in this field. They also are champions in the way that they're saying that they want to make sure that there is a solution to racial inequality. And by committing to the pace setters program, our companies are starting to make that case. There's actually a lot to come with the pace setters. So I would say this is a great opportunity for companies who are thinking about their racial equity commitments to think about this program. As Laureen mentioned in the beginning, we have a series dedicated to pace setters called Doing Business. And this was in direct response to what we were hearing from businesses of color who mentioned that it has been very difficult to understand the process within large corporations. If it's your first time making a case or trying to bid for an open contract, it's very difficult to understand all of the different processes involved. So the Doing Business series aims at creating transparency around that process. And it asks our corporate members to really be transparent, show us their procurement cycles as they're coming, and to give us an outlook of the spending opportunities that might be coming up. The Doing Business series is actually free and open to all members. We made that intentionally to make sure that anyone who wanted to tune in had the opportunity to understand more about our pace setters program and also to see how it is that businesses of color could do business with these agencies. As we mentioned, the next one is on September 22nd, and it will feature the Boston Red Sox.
Thanks, Bea.
Yes, absolutely.
And so this is our final section, but I'm going to invite Haley Glenn from our marketing team to come and share a little bit more about the ways that you can leverage the chamber to amplify your business's news. And I think kind of now more than ever, this has been a growing area of interest for our members to learn about. And so we're going to walk through that. I will actually kick this off because the first few on this list are a little bit more membership centric. The first being our Member Information Center. If you're not familiar with this, this is our member portal and kind of the place that we push our members to manage their membership. So this is a place that you'll go to sign up for events and kind of keep outstanding items about your membership managed. On the little screenshot on the right side is a little snapshot of what the member portal looks like. But living within the Member Information Center are two features. The first, which is our community calendar, and then the second being our member-to-member marketplace. And so the community calendar is a calendar that is available within the portal for members to post their events to. And so especially now, if your company's hosting any virtual events, feel free to post them there for other members to see when they're signing into the portal. And then similarly to that is the member-to-member marketplace. So if your company's hoping to kind of like offer a deal to members, like say like a trial for all existing chamber members for 3 months, check this out. You can post that in the member-to-member marketplace within our portal. If you have any questions, I will follow up to kind of help any members that need assistance get settled in there. But on the membership side, always feel free to reach out to me for that. Next, which actually also kind of ties to the member portal, but your online directory listing. So as an active member of the chamber, you get a listing within our member directory. How you edit that is through the member portal, but just make sure to look it up. It is on the chamber's membership tab on the Boston Chamber's website, but just making sure that that information is accurate and up to date for your business. And then another opportunity that you'll have is kind of like linking social media, being able to add pictures, videos, and updated blurbs about your business. So definitely check that out, as it's kind of a place for when people are searching your businesses. The listing often tends to come up pretty early in the search engine, so keep an eye out for that. And then finally, our mailing labels opportunity is so we keep all of our active members' kind of emails and contact information confidential, but we do offer the opportunity to purchase a pack of mailing labels that are addressed to the primary contacts of our 1,300 members. And so it's actually been a pretty popular opportunity for member companies to purchase a packet of mailing labels and to be able to send kind of information to other fellow members to kind of establish contacts. And so if this is a benefit of interest, do feel free to reach out to me or any of my colleagues on the membership team.
Great, I'll take it from here. So again, just to emphasize, the reason we do all we do here is to spotlight you, especially with our marketing and visibility. During this time, we're not meeting in person, we're not able to do the things we're normally able to do. So we definitely want to make sure that you all feel free to leverage marketing to help amplify your brand. So there are a few different buckets and ways that we do this. And I'm going to talk about 4 main ways that our team is able to use our different channels to amplify who you are and what you do. So the first one is our emails, and we send out a bi-weekly roundup. So that's every other week, and we have a few sections where we sometimes celebrate membership anniversaries or welcome new members. And then we also have a section where we love to just share member news. So if you ever have anything you want to share, you can just shoot me an email or email anyone on our marketing team, and we'll be happy to pop that in. Our newsletter is read by our subscriber list is around 7,000. So you're really, when you're sending us a piece of news, this is amplified throughout the whole city, throughout a lot of our members. So that's one thing. And then another, of course, social media, and we are active on many channels. Name a channel, we're probably there. So that's Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and we have multiple brands. As we were discussing earlier, there's CityWake, our young professionals program. There's MyTex and Bima, our recently acquired tech program. And then, of course, just the Chamber, which umbrellas over everything. Combined, we have about 50,000 followers. So that is a really large reach. And if you ever have any news you want to share with us, please reach out to myself or a member of my team, and we'd be happy to figure out how we can best amplify that. So those are, that kind of encompasses all things social media. And then another project we've been working on, just ramping up even more, is our thought leadership blog. And this is an opportunity for you to create original content posted on our website, again, which has visibility to thousands of people in Boston and across the US and world. And we aim to partner with you to figure out an idea that you have and something you might be interested in talking about, sharing about, and then we work with you from start to finish to make sure that you can create a draft that you're able to polish really nicely, and then we publish it on our site, optimizing for SEO, and then we amplify the piece through our social channels, so that you're writing something that is able to be shared with thousands of people, both through our emails and our social media, and also just up on our blog, on our website. So I actually have been managing that. So if you have any questions on that or are looking to partner, please reach out to me. We think our members are experts in so many areas, and we definitely want to do our due diligence to spotlight you in any way we can. And then the last thing I'm going to hit on is sponsorship. So given our various programs, as Lorene talked about, there's so many opportunities to align your brand with our programs, and sponsorship is a great way to do so. So there's something for anyone at the Chamber. We've got our DEI programs, we've got our CityWake programs, we have our Fierce Urgency of Now festival coming up, which is all about building inclusivity within the city of Boston for young professionals of color. And a benefit to sponsorship is you're able to get your logo shared and associated with all outreach. You have the opportunity to introduce, kick off, and just welcome an event, whether that's in person or virtual. And if there's any interest there, please reach out. We are happy to share more details. And happy to figure out a way that we can partner and collaborate on making Boston the best place for people to thrive, for businesses to thrive, and for you as members to feel like you are really a part of this community. So that's it. If there are any questions, I'm happy to answer them in our breakout room, or you can always feel free to reach out to me through email. I'm happy to correspond. So that's it. Back to Kelly.
So perfect on timing. So this brings us right to 12:45. And so just to kind of tie up the presentation, just to know if you're not hearing from us, I will share the link to opt into our newsletters. And I'd actually also encourage you to share that with the rest of your kind of colleagues and team members so that they're staying in the know of what's going on at the Chamber. If you do need assistance with your member portal login, I will reach out to all of our attendees. So if you don't have that set up and want to get that set up, I can help you with that. And then as a note, the email below, memberservices@bostonchamber.com, is our kind of general inbox. So if there's anything that comes up, or if you actually want to schedule a meeting with our team to review kind of your individual company's participation, do feel free to reach out. And so with that, for anyone that does want to stay on this call And maybe I hope that today's presentation was really helpful in understanding kind of the whole chamber at large, our mission, and the different ways that members are able to get plugged in. We welcome you to kind of stay and chat with our team. So Lorene, Haley, Bea, and James will be all taking part in kind of a themed breakout room for members to be able to come off mic, introduce themselves, and maybe ask any kind of individual questions that you might have about what was said today. I know, especially in a virtual setting, it's a little intimidating to come off mic in front of such a big group. So we wanted to provide this opportunity for engagement with our team. And so I will ask, I don't know if my screen's going to show this as well, but I have some pop-ups on the screen. But in Zoom, if you click the participant button, once you click that, it should pop out this kind of white bar on the right side of your screen. When you're there, if you can click the more button and then rename, I'm going to ask that anyone that would like to join a breakout room to please rename themselves to the room number or topic that you're interested in engaging with. Once I see that, I'll be able to push you into the rooms with my colleagues to be able to answer any questions that you might have, or to just introduce yourself and say hi. And we will be here until 1 o'clock. So if you do want to jump around rooms, maybe multiple topics really stuck out to you, you will have the opportunity to do so. So I'm going to give a minute for any attendee that wants to stay to get themselves situated and rename themselves. And then I, from the kind of back-end controller side, will facilitate the breakout rooms.